Do you remember Napster a number of years ago and a lot of the controversy that surrounded a lot of people that were downloading music 100% free? It was just going absolutely wild. In fact, actually, Lars Ulrich of Metallica was at the forefront of someone that was actually arguing against Napster. And you fast forward some years later, Napster, of course, is no longer around, and you've got other platforms in its place that are a little bit more legit. Well, we've got a little bit of a situation here in the publishing community as a whole, and it's regarding the Internet Archive Library. Is the Internet Archive Library pirating your book? We'll find out in today's video. Imagine winning $5,000 for your self-published book. Get more details from our sponsors, the North Street Book Prize competition, later in this video. Hey, what's up? It's Dale here today, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about the Internet Archive and something of a dumpster fire that they've created over the past year. It's fairly interesting, and if you're probably wondering what is the Internet Archive, it's actually a 501c3 organization, another word for nonprofit organization, that essentially is like a digital library of like sites and cultural artifacts that are turned into digital form. If you've ever heard of the Wayback Machine, that's another concoction of theirs that you're able to go back and see some things that were used to on the internet but are no longer there, and they're able to kind of go back and just store some of this information. You know, Internet Archive's not all that bad, but it's kind of shocking in what they're doing more recently. And this is essentially bootlegging books. I'm going to give you just a little bit of opinions inside this video here, but quite a bit of it is facts. And so the fact is this has been an issue that's been brewing over the past year, something regarding their policy for what they call controlled digital lending. Now, this is a fairly interesting concept that they have here. What they're doing is they're scanning print copies of books, and they're making it available through ebook and through 5 distribution channels. And this includes downloadable ebooks through openlibrary.org, audiobooks, and now the audiobooks are done through a text-to-speech program, page images on openlibrary.org, page images on archive.org, and APIs for automated downloads of page images. All that to say this, that they're essentially taking print books that someone just bought once, and then they're distributing them as ebooks with no permission in advance. And now it's really coming under intense scrutiny because they've now launched this initiative called the National Emergency Library. And as some of you know, the state of the world that we're in right now in 2020. Sorry for the brief interruption here, but this is Dale from the future. Oddly enough, when I recorded this video, it was about a week and a half ago, but as of today, the National Emergency Library has been completely shut down. However, the Internet Archive continues to use controlled digital lending. I want to make sure that you're up to speed, so that way you knew that National Emergency Library is no more. Take it away, Dale, from the past. The pandemic has caused a lot of upheaval and a lot of unrest throughout the world, and some need for some, necessities like this. And so what they thought was, oh, you know what, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to double down on this whole controlled digital lending thing. And they're allowing a catalog of about 1.5 million ebooks that they've done through this controlled digital lending program, and they're allowing people to borrow these titles simultaneously. So unlike a regular library, when like say there's one copy and the person has to wait till it comes back, they're allowing people to just get the same copy all at the same time, and it's just like a free-for-all, an all-you-can-eat buffet for digital books that should not be available anyways. And why is that? There's been zero permission and zero compensation for all of this. Here's what the Internet Archive claims, and what they've said is the books are over 10 years old. And so they also claiming that they're just doing a few pages of content. Well, that's all well and good, but again, what you're dealing with is permission of a copyright. And this isn't just a simple thing of me going over to my neighbor and saying, oh, well, you can borrow a few pages of this book and send it back. No, they're allowing the entire world to take one of their copies and just distribute it willy-nilly. And here's the crazy part. It's not like Internet Archive is working on this alone. In fact, they actually have other signatories, as they put it, people that are behind them on this, including the likes of Authors Alliance, which is an advocate for authors, which is the oddest thing that I've heard, that they would get into a corner such as this. And there's a number of digital public libraries, including the Digital Public Library of America, as well as about a dozen US libraries that are getting behind this initiative. And they're allowing some of these print books to be scanned, turned into ebooks, and distributed 5 different ways without any compensation or permission. According to them, content digital lending is not intended to act as a substitute for existing electronic licensing services offered by publishers. Indeed, one significant advantage of CDL is addressing the 20th century problem of older books still under copyright but unlikely to ever be offered digitally by commercial services. So essentially what they're saying is, oh, it's 10 years old, so there's no likelihood that anybody's going to go back and put that into ebook form. They've pretty much put an expiration date on some titles that are 10 years old. So if you've got a book that's 10 years old, well, good luck to you, because they've just now deemed it pretty much dead on arrival for anything that is for ebook or audiobook. So if you've waited this long, guess what? They've jumped the gun, and they're putting out your books this way without your permission and without any compensation whatsoever. Even public domain books have a shelf life of some sort, but it's way longer than what you're dealing with a 10-year shelf life, because public domain books, they don't become public domain until 70 years after the author's death. That means it's not available to the public to use in Creative Commons until that author is 70 years removed from their death. So they're taking books of authors that are alive and well. You can look inside their library. They're using Stephen King's book, and he's alive last I knew it. So what happens now? I'm going to discuss that in just a moment. But before we do get to that very final point about what happens now, I want to bring to your attention, if you are an author and you're looking for a way to get some accolades and praise, might I recommend the 6th annual North Street Book Prize competition. It's underway currently right now and actually open up to self-published authors only in about 6 different categories. And the nice thing is they have over $12,500 in prizes for the winners, and the grand prize is $5,000. What would you do with an extra $5,000? And the beautiful part about this is they actually are a recommended competition by the Alliance of Independent Authors. Big kudos, obviously. The deadline for this year is June 30th, 2020. If you want to go ahead and get more details, head over to winningwriters.com/Dale and get your book into the contest as soon as possible. Let me know, of course, if you win. So the dumpster fire is all ablaze. This has been going on for the past year. And you know, the funny thing is, traditional publishing companies don't take too kindly when you reach into their bank accounts and steal from them. And that's essentially what's happening. Is actually a number of trade published companies filed suit on June 1st of 2020. And this includes the Hachette Book Group, HarperCollins, Penguin Random House, and John Wiley and Sons. And they've put a lawsuit together against the Internet Archive. And you know, I certainly hope that there's some kind of closure to this in something like Napster, that it goes away, but also create some type of a change that helps out authors, both traditionally published and self-published, to avoid instances like this. Because in reality, it's much like Internet Archive is going into a McDonald's, you know, and just walking behind the counter and serving themselves, creating their own burgers and such like that. And then they're surprised when the McDonald's management comes up to them and says, "Hey, what are you doing?" And they're going, "Oh, no, don't sweat it. I'm making a burger for myself, but you know, I'm only going to use like this right here. You know, I don't want the top of this bun. I'll take a tomato and some ketchup here." And you know, it's totally cool because it serves the good for everybody. It doesn't work that way. We're in a capitalist society, and from what you're taking from is you're just stealing from people that are hardworking people. And I gotta tell you, vast majority of authors out there can barely make it by as it is, and now you're wanting to reach into their pockets deeper and just give freely to everybody? It just does not work that way. What exactly do you think about this situation? Is Internet Archive completely justified in allowing that to the open public without any kind of permission or compensation for the authors? I definitely would love to hear from you. And hey, if you enjoyed this content, make sure, of course, you want to learn more about writing and publishing books itself. Hit the subscribe button, ring the bell notification icon so you don't miss a single one of these videos. And also, I've queued you up with another very intriguing insight into what I absolutely despise with all of my being: plagiarism. Plagiarism is running afoul, and they actually have some really sneaky ways. You don't want to miss out on this very next video. Click on that, and I will see you then.